capacity for learning, reasoning, understanding, and similar forms of mental activity, aptitude in grasping truths, relationships, facts, meanings, etc. I am up here talking in front of you all because society has chosen a specific path of education for its youth. They teach us how to calculate and how to write. They teach us about the world around us and how to think for ourselves. That is, if we choose to listen. Everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses. My strengths for learning, retaining, and comprehending information have helped me up to this stage. I am first in my class, and I have the highest grades in GPA. But what does that really mean? It certainly does not mean that I am the smartest kid up here. It simply means that I am the best at getting schoolwork done. It means that I have learned how to write and calculate and memorize. But what does that mean for everybody else, though? They too have their strengths. Thanks to the school and its great staff, they have been allowed to use their brains in many other ways. Some can fix a computer problem or an electrical problem, while I sit here and I count teeth and do math problems in my dental assisting shop. Now, I'm not proposing that academic education isn't important. What I'm proposing is that while I may be up here first academically, I'm no better or smarter than any of my classmates. Everybody is different. We all undergo different difficulties and have different experiences that make us who we are today. Louis C.K., a comedian, once said, "You're never going to get the same thing as other people. It's never going to be equal. It's not ever going to happen in your life. So you must learn that now. The only time that you should look into your neighbor's bowl is to make sure that they have enough. You do not look in your neighbor's bowl to see if you have as much as them. No one is equal to anybody else, but no one is better than anybody else either. We as human beings shouldn't be out looking for equality and acceptance. We should be trying to find out who we are as people and embracing that, bettering ourselves so that we can better the world in our future. As teenagers, we are in that stage of figuring out what kind of person we are going to be. We are leaving the warm cocoon of high school and going into real life. We are becoming adults legally responsible for ourselves. We're going off to college or work, trying to start lives for ourselves. You would think that I would stand up in front of all you today and tell you that you need to further your education to make the world a better place and to be successful and happy. But that isn't always the case. There are many sorts of careers that require further education, and that's it. If that's what you want, then you should go for it. But remember, though, that there are other ways to make the world a better place. Whatever you do, though, don't get so wrapped up in what others think about you and expect from you that you don't search for your own happiness. I feel that success and happiness are directly related. Not in the way that success will lead to happiness, but it is happiness that will lead to success. Once one can feel that they're happy with what they're doing or with what they have done in their lives, they will feel successful. Whether it's finding a cure for cancer or just raising a family. My family, my hobbies, my beliefs, they all become kind of less important when I focus too much on work and school. It all kind of fades a little bit. Work and education should be part of life, but it should not override life. I want to see the world. I want to experience new and beautiful things. I want to make new and strong bonds with my future friends and create new memories with my present friends. Eventually, I may even want a family, but that's really for future I want to decide. Life is unpredictable, and it is difficult, but it's our job to make the best of it. Hard work is key to getting things done. If you want something, you have to get up and you have to get it for yourself. No one is going to hand it to you. Some people may even try to prevent you from obtaining whatever it is that you want. You must stand up for yourself, and you have to stand up for those who cannot stand up for themselves. I find that I am proudest of myself when I know I've worked hard. Recently, I did something that made me pretty proud of myself. Now, you may think this is weird, but my mom and I cleaned our backyard. Now, yard work does not come easy to me. It's really not my thing. But I worked really hard that day, and it showed. Now, every time I walk by my backslider, I look at my backyard, and I just appreciate my hard work. Maybe years from now, you will have your diploma hung up, and every time you see it, you'll just think about all the hard work that you put into it. and just feel that inner pride of a job well done. Or maybe it won't be your diploma. Perhaps it will be your child's diploma that brings tears to your eyes. Or maybe it's when he or she steps up on that stage and gives his or her valedictorian speech that you'll feel that pride. Who knows? But as long as you do your best at the things you love, or maybe you work hard at the things you don't love so much, you will feel that accomplishment. That, in its own way, is how to succeed and become happy. I look back at my years at the school, and I have so many fond memories of my classmates, some more than others, but I really feel that our class has become like a big family. You have some sisters and brothers, but then you also have that distant cousin that you've heard about but never had a real conversation with, or that face that you see in family reunions that you're not really quite sure how you're related. Or maybe there's a newcomer, someone who got married in or adopted or a new baby. Either way, we have the tendency to stand up for them and just be generally decent to each other. We may have our disagreements and we may not be feeling the love all the time, but we care about each other. The girls in my shop, for instance, I've grown to love them like sisters. I sure have braided their hair enough times. And then there's kids like David Sherman, or Deja Deluge, Sean Roney, Tyler Traynor, Stephanie King, Jamie Godwin, Jimmy Faye, Tyler Gardner, and let's not forget Haniel, his last name is not needed. They're just really nice, good kids that are definitely going places. That I'm just really glad to have been able to have some sort of friendship with them. Now, these are just not the ones that I wrote down. These are just the ones I wrote down. But there's so many funny and creative, if maybe not always the most well-behaved kids, who I just feel I'm really glad to have known. Now, I think about the future, and what it holds, and it really scares me. Not necessarily because the future is a scary place, but because it's so elusive and unforeseeable. It's like walking into a dark room. You just don't know what's there until you find the switch and turn it on. But thankfully, we've been given some flashlights, our parents and teachers. They may not be able to show us everything at once, but they have been giving us these little hints along the way. They have been educating us and preparing us to the best of their abilities. This speech, for example, would not have been done if it weren't for the lovely Miss Nowak for her help and critiques. Kids here will sometimes even call their teachers mom or dad just because they care for and appreciate them so much. I remember back when Chris Herron, the author of our summer reading book, came for the second time. Kids were sitting here, just as you are sitting now, and we sat there and we listened to a story for a while, but then we were allowed to ask questions. Some students decided to start sharing things that they were dealing with. One student, he made a comment about how he had no one to go to. And then another student stood up and said, "You have us." That touched my heart so deeply, I practically started tearing up on the spot, and then when I went back to shop afterwards, I cried. Now, I just want you to realize I really don't cry that much, maybe a few times a year. But just that simple display of kindness and love that one student had for the other, that everybody in that room had for the person they were sitting next to, and comforting, that just filled me with this overwhelming emotion. It reminds me of a quote I once heard by the recently deceased Maya Angelou. She said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." The people in the school, the staff and the students have made me feel special, and I appreciate that. In the end though, when you all leave here today, I would just like to say, remember the past, prepare for the future, but live in the present. Thank you.